The Oklahoma City bombing, a warning for us all. On April 19, 1995, a truck bomb exploded outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, killing 168 people, including 19 children. It was the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history, and the warning signs had been there all along. For many Americans, the Oklahoma City bombing was a wake-up call. It wasn't foreign terrorists or an outside enemy. It was one of our own. A Gulf War veteran turned radical, driven by conspiracy and hate, targeted his own country. This wasn't just an attack on a building. It was an attack on the very idea of government, unity, and civil society. Nearly 30 years later, its legacy still echoes, with questions about radicalization, security, and the danger of violent extremism. So today, we revisit this tragedy, not just to remember, but to reflect on what it warns us about, even now. The Oklahoma City bombing didn't happen in a vacuum. Throughout the early 1990s, there was a growing undercurrent of anti-government sentiment in the U.S., fueled by militia movements, conspiracy theories, and high-profile standoffs like Ruby Ridge, 1992, and Waco, 1993. To some, the federal government had become the enemy. They sought its actions as tyranny and believed violence was justified. Enter Timothy McVeigh, a former soldier once decorated, who became obsessed with revenge after the Waco siege. He believed the government had overreached, and he wanted to make them pay. His target, the Murrah Federal Building, home to ATF, DEA, Social Security, and child welfare offices. His reasoning: if the government could kill civilians at Waco, he would return the favor. McVeigh's descent into extremism was fueled by far-right propaganda, gun show culture, and fringe survivalist groups. He idolized the Turner Diaries, a racist, dystopian novel where patriots overthrow a corrupt government through terrorism. In 1994, with help from his accomplice Terry Nichols, McVeigh began stockpiling ammonium nitrate fertilizer, the key component in the bomb. On the morning of April 19, 1995, exactly 2 years after the Waco siege ended in fire, McVeigh parked a Ryder truck outside the building. Inside it, over 4,800 pounds of explosives. He lit the fuse, walked away, and at 9:02 a.m., everything changed. The explosion ripped through the 9-story building, destroying a third of it instantly. Glass shattered across the downtown area. Cars melted. Bodies were buried in rubble. In total, 168 people dead, more than 680 injured, dozens of children killed at the daycare on the second floor, hundreds left traumatized. The horror was captured live. The nation was stunned. And for the first time, Americans faced the reality. Terror could come from within. In the hours after the bombing, chaos gave way to one of the largest investigations in FBI history. McVeigh was arrested just 90 minutes after the bombing, pulled over for driving without license plates and carrying an illegal firearm. Within days, the evidence piled up. Rental truck receipts, fingerprints on explosive materials, testimony from Nichols and others. McVeigh showed no remorse. In court, he called the deaths collateral damage. He was convicted in 1997 and executed by lethal injection in 2001. But even after his death, the shockwaves remain. The Oklahoma City bombing exposed major gaps in domestic intelligence and sparked new federal security laws, including the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act of 1996. It also raised uncomfortable questions. How did a U.S. citizen become radicalized? Why were the warnings missed? Could it happen again? The Oklahoma City bombing was not just a tragedy, it was a warning. It revealed how ideology, misinformation, and isolation can create domestic threats more deadly than foreign enemies. It reminded us that extremism can take root anywhere, in rural towns, among veterans, in our own neighborhoods. And it forced a nation to rethink how it protects itself, not just from bombs, but from the anger that fuels them. To this day, the memorial stands quiet but powerful, rows of empty chairs where lives were lost, lit each night as a promise. We remember, we learn, we stay vigilant. What lessons do you think the Oklahoma City bombing left behind? And are we doing enough to prevent it from happening again? Share your thoughts in the comments and check out our next video on the search for D.B. Cooper. Like, subscribe, and stay informed.